Welcome to Builds with Blocks, a show centered around the micro action figures and brick-based construction sets of the Halo universe. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, and I'm joined by Tom Fishenden.
Moving into the quarantine zone. Go! Go! Check your corners, lads. Keep your eyes up. Let's move.
Matt Salvatore.
How's it going, guys?
And Gabe Clem.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy do.
In this very special episode, we'd like to announce the details of an incredible opportunity that Mega Construx is giving the Halo community. The team at Mega is asking fans to choose one of the figures that will be included in an upcoming Halo Heroes series. So one of the following figures that we're going to be talking about is going to be included in Halo Heroes 16. Voting will begin Wednesday, July 28th, tomorrow if you're watching on release, and will be open until the end of the day on Thursday, August 5th. The winning figure will be announced on Friday, August 6th, and will be included in Halo Heroes 16, which will drop in the fall of 2022. The other four figures are still being determined between Mega and 343. You can vote one time per day, so select the figure you want, vote, come back, vote again. You can see the results as you go. So if yours isn't winning, you can come back and support that one some more. Once a winner is determined, Mega will take us through the production process, which is really exciting. So you're going to see how the figure is designed, you're going to see how the mold is created, how the painting is done, the whole ball of wax. So if you want to participate, we'd love you to participate. Please participate. Voting, follow the link below here, or it's also available in the description, and you can also find it in by following Mega Construx's social channels. All right, here we go. So the reveal, the figures that are going to be included in the voting process. The Thrall Slayer, which is a Halo Wars brute leader. Spartan CQB, which we haven't seen since the new articulated figures. The Spartan Haunted, which is from Halo Reach. And an Elite Flood from Halo 3. So here's the thing with the vote now. You can vote as many times as you want, one time per day. So you will see, you go to the website below, go check out Mega's official social channels, and then place your votes. You'll be able to see the results after you vote. So if, for whatever reason, your selection isn't doing as hot after a couple days, switch to one of the other two that are maybe at the top of the list, and make sure that you leverage that vote and select the one that's going to be in the next in Halo Heroes 16.
Yeah.
I have a quick question though about this. Is it like a tier thing? So like say 4 figures day 1, and then the top 3 move to the next round, or do all 4 move to the next round?
They're all just pitted against each other for the full 2 weeks of voting.
Death.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the top, the figure that's on top at the end of 2 weeks of the 4 is going to be the one that's going to be in Halo Hero 16. We are super excited to talk about these. We're just going to so what we did is we all went and took a figure. We're going to talk about the history of that figure or the character in Halo, and then talk about the figure that have been created, if they've been created by Mega, and then why you should vote to have this one included in Halo Heroes 16. So I'm going to hand it over to Tom to talk about the Flood.
Yeah, so if you guys couldn't tell by the overly exaggerated introduction, I am, of course, taking the Flood. So the Flood first appeared in Halo Combat Evolved all the way back in 2001 as an enemy which the player encounters in the later levels of the game. And they've been an omnipresent threat since then, especially in the Bungie saga, appearing in Halo 2, Halo 3, and then they've also been present in some other titles. So we haven't seen them in many of 343 Eyes games, although we have seen them in Halo Wars, and we also got a DLC themed around the Flood in Halo Wars 2, which was, of course, Awakening the Nightmare. Since then, I think it's fair to say that a return has been teased in some capacity, and I think we're all hungry to see the Flood back in Halo Infinite. So the history of the figure in Mega...
Unconfirmed. We're hoping for Halo.
Yeah, we are hoping. We're hungry for it.
Speak for yourself.
So the history of the figure in Mega Construx format Well, to begin with, this figure's history is actually in Mega Blocks format. So this figure was only ever released in the old articulation format, with its first ever release coming in a very, very special set to mark Halo's 10th anniversary, the 2011 Floodgate set. So that was a really, really cool set themed around the Halo 3 level, ironically enough, where you probably, I think in the game, first encounter the Flood combat form. I think
in Halo 3.
In Halo 3. Yeah. So obviously it was themed around that, and then from there moving forwards, we saw releases in an assortment of colours: orange in Flood Siege, purple in the drop pods. However, this figure did not get upgraded to new articulation alongside the Elites, and actually the last time that we saw the Elite Flood combat form was back in 2015's Bravo series blind bags. So So we haven't seen the Elite Flood combat form since 2015. We've seen a couple of infected Spartans, but the pieces aren't really reusable for Elite characters. So why should it be in Halo Heroes Series 16? Because a Flood update is long overdue, and it's been a bloody long time. A new articulation Flood combat form would not only introduce a character which I think fans are really hungry for, but it would also introduce elements which fans can interchange with other super articulated figures, allowing them to create Flood hordes which better reflect the modern standards that Mega have attained. I think it's also fair to note that this year, 2021, is obviously the 20th anniversary of Halo, and the Flood have always been an iconic part of Halo's sandbox. When you think of enemies, you think of the Covenant, and then the next enemy you think of really is the Flood. So there never has been a better time to reintroduce them to the assortment in a refreshed and modernised manner. I hope you've enjoyed my arguing. I'm going to put my face mask back on now, grab my bulldog, and go back to hunting some infection forms.
That's right. So the figures that you're the images that you've seen on screen are the visual cues that the design team is going to use to create the figures. The figures haven't been created yet. They're kind of in the ideation stage. So what you're seeing on screen here is they'll probably look something of that design. So I want to throw it over to the toughest design, is this Thrall Slayer. Matt, take us through this one.
So actually the Thrall Slayer has a pretty interesting history in the series of Halo. His bulk of his story, he is a Jirohanai brute chieftain, but the bulk of his story takes place in Halo Wars. He was specifically chosen by the Hierarchs to be a part of the Harvest campaign. He also tagged along to chase the Spirit of Fire to the Shield world on the fleet of Glorious Interdiction. He had quite the rivalry with Ripa Morami, who obviously they hated each other. And in a weird twist of fate, Ripa sent this Thrall Slayer away from the battle so that Ripa would gain all the glory of battle. Unfortunately, he met a Forge and didn't go his way. But this Thrall Slayer was tasked with getting Regret to safety, and he has been seen in Halo Wars multiplayer campaigns. He is a leader. So that's his kind of story within the Halo lore. So he's
we haven't seen him since, really, right?
Well, as a matter of fact, Thrall Slayers do make a couple appearances in some of the other media. I believe there's a few comic series with Atriox where you can spot some Thrall Slayers mixed in with his banished troops.
That's dope.
Thrall Slayers are also later mentioned in the Fall of Reach. They're cited in a hologram. So there's a little bit of lore about this. Originally, when I came across this figure, I'm like, oh, he's just a multiplayer leader bonus or some kind of thing. But he actually has a lot of built into the lore. So pretty cool little stuff on that. Now, coming to his history with Mega, he has none.
Right.
Because he's never been made. So why should the Thrall Slayer be in this next Halo Heroes line?
You just said it.
He's
never been made.
Yeah, he's never been made. Exactly. So the key with this figure is, I think it's and I'll take a shot at the Flood just briefly, is I guarantee you later on down the road we will see the Flood in more sets. But we may never see the Thrall Slayer in any set at all because he's such a rare individual in the lore, and he's never had a figure made from him in the past. So it's not like we're going back for nostalgia or updating his mold or his design. So he's brand new, right off the cuff. He's got a pretty cool little lore bit to it. But again, scarcity and this rare occurrence of actually being able to pick something that's from I would say the extended lore is probably the strongest argument for this figure.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's the Thrall Slayer.
Plus, look at him.
Well, I want to mention,
savage.
If Mega does make this Thrall Slayer, it'll be the first official Thrall Slayer toy ever.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
McFarlane's never made one. Mega's never made one. No other. He's literally never had any representation outside of the game. So it would be pretty cool.
Jazzwares, if you're listening, don't beat Mega to it now. Let them have this one.
Yeah, let them have their fun. Hold on.
Well, hey, we got to vote first. Got to get that vote.
Yeah.
Make sure to get out there and vote.
You vote. All right.
Vote.
The third figure that we're going to talk about is the Haunted figure.
So the haunted armor, quote unquote, is actually just a helmet. The helmet is a version of Pilot, which you get in Halo Reach. When you get to the end of the ranking system in Halo Reach, which takes approximately 9,000 games and over 10 million XP, you're rewarded with a variant of the Pilot helmet, which has a skull on the inside with a see-through visor.
So cool.
My history with the Pilot started back in 2016. Actually, I made a custom Haunted figure out of a Halo Reach EVA and a skull that I carved away the visor and I attached it to the front. And then later last year, a partner of mine, we 3D modeled and printed Haunted Spartan helmets, which is what you can see on this most recent figure, and maybe we'll toss up some photos now. But why I think the Haunted Spartan deserves to be a Mega Construx figure is for two main reasons, but also a little third one. For one, similarly to the Thrall Slayer, I mean, they've never made one before. They've never even made a Pilot, actually. And the way I think about it is that maybe if they make the Haunted, maybe that even opens the door up for them making like Pilot helmet and the rest of the pieces. Number two, it is a monumentous part of Halo Reach especially, but the Halo series. I mean, when you think of like the rewards from Halo, I mean, you have Hayabusa, you have Recon, you've got maybe Helios Grill, but there's always someone's going to say Haunted, because in any Halo Reach game you get into, you're going to see someone running around with that smoky skull sticking out of their helmet. And the third reason is because I have seen a lot of people asking for Haunted. Like, every time I a poll and I'm like, hey, what Halo Reach Spartans do you guys want me to make? Haunted is almost always at the top. I didn't realize just how popular it was as a mega figure as it was in game. I mean, people really, really, really like this armor. And I know that over the last few months, we've gotten a lot of Grenadiers. We've gotten a lot of the other, like, Halo Reach armors, and I think this would be a nice refresher to the Halo Reach sandbox that Mega has created already. There's a few bits and pieces here and there that they haven't made, but if they were to go out of any of them, I know that for sure I'd be voting for the Haunted, because I mean, it's a legendary piece, carries a lot of history and weight from the Halo Reach series, and I think a lot of people would be happy to see this as a hero.
It would also be a really intricate helmet.
Yeah.
The design for it would be really sick.
I think it fits best as a hero because of what it is. Like, it is a special helmet, and I feel like putting it in a specialty series like a hero is very fitting for something that you get for going through all of those games in Halo Reach, and you get it at the end. And I feel like this, for like how Matt said, for how detailed it is and how sought after it is in the games, I think it would fit really well as a hero figure, instead of just being mixed in with maybe like an armor pack or something.
Okay, and then now closing it out, we're going to talk about the fourth figure. The fourth option is the CQB, which is the close quarters battle armor, a variant of the Mjolnir powered armor assault. The CQB variant is a technological successor to the CQC armor, both which specialize in the improvement of survivability in close quarters engagements. The CQB's armor components are designed to optimize joint mobility in close quarters and have an improved field of view. Lore-wise, the armor was used as early as 2525 by Sam034 and Daisy023. Remember her from Halo Legends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the games, the armor first showed up in Halo 3 as one of the default unlockable armor sets. It's an unlockable helmet armor permutation in Halo Reach. It can only be unlocked by completing achievements in Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST. Isn't that weird? So you have to remember with Halo Waypoint, it kind of tied everything together. So as you did achievements and different milestones from those games,
back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. So you could unlock the armor and then a couple attachments within Halo Reach, which is pretty cool. In Halo MCC, though, now it's part of the Season 1 unlock. You can just unlock it for one season point. So hop in there. If you'd like CQB, go grab that. It was skipped in Halo 4, but it was also in Halo 5 Guardians during the Memories of Reach update.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, one really quick thing, too, CQB, according to a survey taken by Bungie back in the Halo 3 days, the CQB chest was one of the most used Spartan armor chest plates in Halo 3, and the helmet was the fourth most used. So this was a popular armor set back in the Halo 3 days.
Wow.
From a history standpoint, so Mega has created quite a few CQBs, but they haven't done a new articulation one. So we can all go all the way back to Halo Battlescape, the original Battlescape, and there's a CQB in there.
Is that the orange one?
The orange one, yeah. The Anniversary Edition Troop Pack, remember the 6 figures? One of those figures is CQB.
Whoa.
The Weapons Pack, UNSC Weapons Pack 2, it was included in the Silver CQB Weapons Pack. There's the Locust Attack, the Versus Attack set, the Versus Snowbound set as well. So there's actually a lot of CQBs that were created, but nothing in the new articulation. It essentially retired after 2013 from the Mega line. We haven't seen this thing in a long time.
Really?
There was an active camo version that was also included in the Orange Combat Unit. So if you have some old figures that laying around, you might have a CQB, but you don't have a new articulation one.
This is true.
So why vote for this one? I think it's because of the lore. So Sam was one of the original Blue Team members, and he sacrificed himself to protect the warheads that were planted on the Unrelenting. If you remember from the Fall of Reach story, and you can go and see the animated version of it, so you can actually see him in his armor there. And he was one of the original Blue Team members, and he was also known as one of the largest and strongest Spartans. So he was the same size as George, but George was a full-grown Spartan. Sam died when he was 14, and he was one of the biggest at the time.
Good Lord.
So the other reason is Daisy. So if you watch, if you have Halo Legends, and if you go to the Homecoming episode, that's where Daisy is featured. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's also featured in Silent Storm, and she's also mentioned in Halsey's Journal at some point. Homecoming is really cool because she goes back. She actually escapes Spartan training, and she goes back home, and she finds her clone. And her clone is somehow still alive, and the clone gives her a little teddy bear, as just, she had some reason to give her this little teddy bear, and then they flash back and forth between a battle that she's in. She actually ends up dying from a needler spikes, and Chief finds her at the very end, and he sees that she's been holding onto this little teddy bear the entire time, and he kind of puts it in her hand as she's on her deathbed. Really cool story. So lots of really cool lore in the CQB, so you can represent Daisy, you can represent Sam, and we haven't had one in a long time. That's why you need to vote for CQB.
I really like. So obviously, it's fair to say we have no clue what the final decos or anything like that would be for these figures. Mm-hmm. But you bringing up Daisy has made me really want Daisy to be the CQB figure.
It's just red and yellow.
They'll just repaint that potentially in future sets anyway. So it would be so cool to get such a meta lore reference like Daisy as this figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you technically could get a Sam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of characters that this would open the door for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's cool.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go around here. So we've given our pitch, we've done the research, but now we're actually going to pick our favorites. We're going to go around quick and decide which ones we want you to vote for. So I'm going to throw it first to Tom. I think we know his answer.
Okay, yeah. So, guys, I want you to vote for the Thrall Slayer because I think it is a really unique brute figure, and I think Matt's right that we probably won't get to see it again. The Flood, yes, they're overdue, but I think Mega are going to do them eventually anyway, so why don't we use this as an opportunity to get something more unique for our collections?
Fair play.
Wow, I convinced him.
Yeah, I like that. I wasn't expecting that.
All
right. Let's go over to Gabe. How about yourself? Which one are you going to be voting for out of the gate?
Man, you know I'm voting for the Flood. There's no contest. I've been waiting. I've made so many Flood customs. The Flood figures are some of my favorite figures that I own. Like, I've been waiting for these things since when? What, 2015? Like, I'm dying to see how they would put together a new articulated Flood. I think it would be great.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it looks so good. Look at this art here. I mean, if the new ones are going to be top notch. All right, Matt, how about you?
Because I'm more of a lore guy, and I like where Infinite is going, and I think the brutes are a big part of Infinite. I would personally love to see the Thrall Slayer because I think the Thrall Slayer is such an interesting character, and he's got such a cool design. And like I said, I think he's just, in my opinion, he's tied into the lore, but he's a expanded lore character.
So I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go with the Haunted. I think this figure,
there you go,
real nice. Looking at what Gabe has put together and just kind of thinking about the mold itself and the paint applications they could put on this thing and the rarity. I think you bring up a good point, Matt. Right? Like we may not see this thing again, and the fact that it was so hard to get in Reach. I think a lot of those Reach people are gonna want this Haunted figure on their shelf.
At the end of the day, this is all about community, and this is a really, really fun opportunity for us all to have input in the products that we're collecting. So please do share this, amplify it, get more people talking about it. If the thing that you really want isn't doing well, go out there, campaign for it, get more.
This is literally your chance to do it.
Something where we really bring people together around it. Because how often do we actually get a chance to decide a toy that we're going to add to our collections? Not often at all.
Exactly.
So let's take full advantage of this.
And who knows, if this is super successful, we might get more of these. Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so you might be able to we might be able to really, really pick some super cool figures later down the road.
It's your time to show.
Pick the Thrall Slayer.
Let your voice be heard. Vote. We're super excited for this. Four awesome figures. Thank you, Mega Construx, for this opportunity. That will do it for the show. Thanks for joining Builds with Blocks. We'll see you next time. Evolved.
Evolved!
Evolved!